T-Dub, I really liked your explanation for the answer to the question of why would they lie a few minutes ago. I thought it was.
Cheers, man. Yeah, I don't think it's as black and white as they like to think, because they just have all these preconceived decisions, in their head that things have actually happened. Like, okay, yeah, men have been far enough away from Earth to see it in its entirety, or as a sphere. That's just a given for them. So if they've done that, then they must have seen that it's flat. But they're not showing us that; they're showing us a globe, right? Like this is in their head already. It's just not necessarily the way that they're imagining. This is a lot more complex than what they imagine it to be, I think. Well, simple and complex simultaneously, because it's as simple as this: they're lying, right? The people that claim to show or represent Earth in imagery as a sphere are lying. Right? Someone made that. Someone made that. Now they made themselves believe that the Earth is a sphere, right? But they're lying that someone took a photo of it like that, right? Or that an object that they sent up there took a photo of it. Because we know that, because Earth measures flat.
I don't understand.
Can't hear you, Kevin. It's complex in the sense of why someone's doing that, right? Can you turn your mic up, Kevin?
Yeah, and it makes complete sense as well. Like these people from so many years ago, they just looked at the skies and they just thought like, oh, well, all the other planets are spherical, so why not just run with it? We'll call Earth spherical as well. And that's what they did.
Right. And people appeal to the blue marble from 1972, 3, whenever it was, that someone on their way to the moon looked out the window with a camera and took a picture of Earth, right? Well, if they're faking going to the moon and everybody already thinks that the Earth's a globe and they want to convince those people, right, the world's population, that they've been to the moon, and the world's population thinks that the Earth is a globe, and they want their moon mission to be convincing, and that's fake, are they going to show them anything other than like what they expect to see, which would be a spherical Earth? They'd have to fake that. It would be part of the process of wanting to be convincing, right? I'm going to fake going to the moon, but I'm not going to show people a spherical Earth like they believe. I'm going to show them a pyramid Earth or a flat Earth or whatever Earth, right? Like disc, like no. You want it to be convincing, and part of it being convincing would be, hey, look, we were far enough away from Earth in space to see it as a sphere. Here it is, just like you thought it was, right? Oh, well, yeah, see? They're not faking it because we know Earth's a globe and they're taking pictures of a globe. Just makes no sense to me that they would want to convince people that Earth is a globe when those people already think it's a globe. Like, yeah, if their intent was to convince people that it's a globe, right? Who are they trying to convince? A minority group? All the universities by then were was well and truly, heliocentrism, globe Earth, all that was well established within the education system. And the common man was already buying all this satellite bullshit and blah, 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 blah. So it would have been a minority group that they were trying to convince. Oh, no, there's a couple of million people think the Earth is flat. We better fake a moon mission and take photos of the Earth. Come on, what? Really? I don't think what they were worried about a relatively small amount of people running around trying to convince people that it's flat. Those people could easily, because they're spread out, they're not in a group. They didn't have the internet. If they are grouping together, that's like on a Sunday night in someone's basement. Nobody gives a shit about them.
Well, I'm
Or
glad
they could just be palmed off as crazy. Go on, sorry.
I would just say, I'm glad they got rebranded to a spy agency.
Yeah. Yeah, well, their primary focus is now intelligence, counterintelligence, surveillance, blah blah. Yeah, I think they already played a part as something like that. I mean, didn't the U.S. government base their decision to invade Iraq on data allegedly received from NASA? I don't know. They got eyes in the sky, apparently, right? Literal eyes, human eyes. Remember in the 80s, early 90s, they were saying how they developed technology good enough to, camera technology that's good enough to, read a number plate from, from orbit, a license plate. I remember, hearing that sort of shit.
They say a lot of crazy stuff.
And then you see in the movies, you see it in the movies. This is because, so in the back rooms of, of the government, the U.S. government, they're aiding and assisting some some agent on the ground, they cut to headquarters and there's this big screen on the wall, like a big screen, flat screen TV, right, or something. But they got this big screen on the wall, and they say, like, they say, give us, satellite 60 Alpha 1, right? And then it'll, the screen will, show the Earth, right? So this is allegedly being filmed from a satellite in space, and then they say zoom in on the coordinates, blah 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 blah. And then, their screen will, pan, and then the Earth will, enlarge, zoom in, and then it's like with all the little colorful lines on the screen and the little numbers showing the coordinates, and it zooms right in on the target, and they can see this person walking around on the ground, in infrared or heat sensors, It's just silly. That's people, that's what they were depicting in the movies as far back as, the early 90s, or even the late 80s. And people were getting the impression that this is the superiority and capabilities that they have. Even though it's in the movies and we know it's fiction, that's the impression that it gives the ordinary person, that this might be based on something real. This is the technology that they have. Of course, the whole idea of Earth being a sphere it's reinforced through that, through fiction. The person is suspending disbelief and knows that it's fake. They're seeing it just like they would have seen it like with the moon. Well, of course, if Hollywood's going to mimic, um, what they actually capable of in reality, they're going to show us a sphere Earth, right? Same principle again.
How far do you think we could actually go? Or do you think we could go far enough to see the entirety of the Earth? Or do you think that's not possible?
I don't think it's possible. Could they be at 250 miles high? Maybe. Like that might be the extent to which they've actually been. You know what I mean? And because they say they're chucking in a little bit of truth, their lies. Now, do they have devices constantly at that altitude? I don't know. Maybe. Have they figured out a way to keep things aloft at that height above the Earth's surface? Possibly. With people in it? I'm thinking that's a stretch. All right. But I guess not outside the realm of possibility. They have that. Is somebody up there right now? I don't know. I can't prove it either way. I can argue against the idea of the environment that they're claiming to be in. But I can't prove that nobody's up there or hasn't at least been there to that height. But it's funny too that we get testimony from people where I don't know if they're having it's a Freudian slip. They're having a moment of intellectual honesty, but we've got testimony from people that claim to have been to such an altitude, saying that it looks flat from that altitude, and imagery also claimed to be taken from that altitude, showing super slight to no curvature of the horizon. So not exaggerated like is depicted sometimes. People appeal to this so-called live footage from the ISS and, with a very curvy horizon. Well, if you look into it, the cameras that they claim to have on the ISS are wide-angle lenses. It's going to greatly distort the image if indeed they do have devices at that height with cameras on them. Those cameras are claimed to be wide-angle lenses. They themselves have released that to the public as public information. But then, so I receive on my phone an image from allegedly taken by an astronaut approaching or just leaving the ISS on the Dragon capsule thing, whatever they call it, the Elon Musk's thing. And they're looking through the porthole of that capsule, taking a picture of the ISS. And in the background of the ISS is a horizon where, if there's any curvature to it, it is super fucking slight. And this is taken just with the camera, like just not a wide angle, just I guess a rectilinear lens, allegedly. Right? It doesn't show the same exaggerated curve of the horizon that we generally see. But yeah, I don't know. That's all speculation, isn't it? Like, because when you do a bit of a deeper dive, that they're claiming to look into things to do with the electromagnetic field of the Earth and tethers, different, things that don't necessarily imply that they're like using any type of gravitational mechanics to suspend things in the air. So it could be that they do have they figured out some other way to.
Yeah, no, it's just mind-boggling to feel where it's going here and just lap up everything that they say, everything that they feed them, just lap it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that these superpowers have intelligence agencies and secret operations going. Right? They don't. That information isn't released to the public. And then until years later, they may or may not declassify some information about past operations. So we don't know what they're spending money on. We don't know what they're investing their time and energy into behind the scenes. Because they do have some technological superiority against the average person, for sure. What can
Yeah,
the
that's what
average
I was
person?
thinking. I was thinking they're mixing something in the water.
Right. And I wouldn't say that this is so much conspiratorial as it is just controversial. Where conspiracy gets become a dirty word, conspiracy, um, used to paint the picture of a person that distrusts or is skeptical of authorities as being loopy, crazy. You know what I mean? It's a shame. You can have controversy without necessarily conspiratorial. It's controversial. People are allowed to doubt. It's okay, and it doesn't mean you're crazy. It just means, well, it means you're intelligent. Doubt unsubstantiated claims. I wonder how many innocent people would have met death through prosecution in a court of law. There was failure to doubt unsubstantiated claims. I wonder how many people have met their death. There are examples. And there's examples where the decision to end someone's life because of an alleged crime they committed without substantiation, without validation, proof, was based often, has been known to have been based on biases, influence of the person's appearance, past background, history, culture, race, etc.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. It makes a person very cynical. To be fair, just trying to survive in this kind of a hell that we live in.
Yeah, we got people painting pictures in their minds about things, in reality, like the Earth, and then other people going, "I want to take advantage of that," and that's the way it's always been, and probably will continue to be as long as the people that aren't like that let it be.
Yeah, there'll always be people who belong and try to make profit off the globe Earth, like NASA right now. They're breaking in billions of dollars, aren't they? There'll always be people who make profit off of other people's suffering and making a fool of other people.
Well, people's money's going somewhere. I mean, it's leaving those, it's leaving US citizens' pockets and going somewhere. The receipts they get are cartoons. So I'd be in an uproar if I was an American citizen. Okay, my money's going towards some has practical use. It aids in things like GPS. Okay, all right. Aids in weather observation, study. Okay, all right. Okay. A lot of it isn't. Right? It's just going into apparently people showing how you brush your teeth and play guitar in space. Some of it's apparently showing us what galaxies look like trillions of miles away. Learning about the nature of the universe and its beginnings, blah 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 blah. That's doing nobody any purpose or any justice. But regardless of whether they're saying you're getting any benefit from what they're investing the money in or not, fact is that the person handed over that check can't validate the claim. They can't go and check to see if the money is being spent exactly the way it's being claimed to be spent. That would be the backbone for a perfect laundering system. So they can literally tell you that any any price they want, any cost they want. It costs this much to do X. Well, how do I know you're doing X? Trust me, bro. Oh, okay. I think I'd rather put my money into fixing up the roads, getting new equipment at the hospital, kids at the school need, whiteboard replacements and whatever, playground equipment. Just better things, within the community. Need that money more, taking people off the street, and people jobs, for example. Societal problems that we're supposed to have a government for. No, how the money's being spent, and I can actually get to see the receipts.
Yeah, the problem is that human beings have and will always be selfish people, selfish creatures. And that's one of the reasons why systems like communism and stuff don't work, because someone or the other will come on in and try to take advantage of that system. So it's everybody's just in it for themselves. And as of now, the only way that we have figured out to prevent that is by allowing people to be selfish through capitalism. And I guess in the long run, we just need to learn to control our selfish gene and just cut that side out completely out of societal interactions so that, we let the other people grow, let the other person grow, not sell lies and not try to take advantage of people. I think that's where we start. That's how all of these lies come to an end.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, it comes down to the heart, the soul. How do you influence the world to change like that? The good people should rise up, take over, make change happen. It's a hard one.